Well, good morning to everybody. It is a beautiful West Texas morning. Unfortunately, we have entered into a government shutdown, something that we did not want to do over a week ago. In fact, almost 2 weeks ago, House Republicans under the leadership of Mike Johnson voted to extend the funding in Washington, D.C., in what we call a clean continuing resolution. What that means is there's no change. There's no additions or deletions. The budget stays the same. Government functions would stay the same. Everybody would keep coming to work. We didn't get any Democrat support on that, and sent it to the Senate, where Chuck, surprise, decided to not vote to extend that, to not vote to fund the government. And after several meetings, and yet we know that they went to the White House and really kind of, and I can talk to the details of this, but placed a ransom letter on the budget, which was immediately rejected by President Trump because they wanted to give health care to millions of illegal aliens, and they wanted to go back on the things that we've done in DOGE and other government efficiencies that we've gained, which was no deal there. So, it's very sad to see that that the hatred and the vitriol that they have for Donald Trump has taken over their party, and they have chosen to shut down the government. And by the way, let's be clear here, that Democrats are the party of big blow our mind. So, they're the ones that have advocated for the expansion of government, yet they can't even come to the table to fund it. So, we can talk through the details of that, but unfortunately, that's where we are this morning.
Well, you did have several Democrats that did come to the table, correct?
Well, I believe last night there were three Senate Democrats that, yes, if I'm not mistaken, Angus King, who calls himself an independent, but he's really a Democrat from Maine. John Fetterman, who really seems to be the only senator, the only Democrat senator that will call out his party's nonsense lately. So, and I'd have to search for the third name. I don't.
Catherine Masto, I believe.
Democrats. Okay, that makes sense. So, excuse me if I don't keep up with Senate Democrats all that often.
Well, now they need 60 votes to advance. This failed 55 to 45. Can we right this ship right now? I mean, is there any negotiations that can be had?
Well, we could. I mean, it just requires 7 Senate Democrats to vote for it, and that's the thing that I think they're unwilling to do, is they're unwilling to come to that. So, my guess is it's probably going to be shut down for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then they're going to get a lot of pressure from their constituents to open the government back up, and we will eventually open it back up with what I expect will be a clean continuing resolution, just like we put on the table.
What about Social Security? Now, let's just talk in terms of what the shutdown affects. I wanted to ask you about Social Security, payment for the military folks, veterans, our guys and gals that are working on the border patrol, that sort of thing.
Well, that's a great question. So federal employees are either paid once a month or twice a month, and some of the agencies have different rules, but they should have received their paychecks last night, just in advance of today. So now, if they're paid once a month, that's going to be good until the 31st of October, where they would, assuming that we open back up, they would get their next paycheck, and they would be paid for days that the government was shut down. In other words, they would be made whole. Now, if they're paid twice a month and that occurs on the 15th and we're still shut down on the 15th, then no, a lot of those agencies are not. Now, the military, the Border Patrol, they're going to, they'll have critical, what they deem as critical employees, essential personnel, and they're going to be coming to work. But this is where it gets sticky, and why it's so upsetting to see Democrats put their politics before the people that are helping us. You will still have personnel that will be helping People will still get their Social Security checks. They will still have access to Veterans Affairs, VA, medical services. You will still be able to get in contact with people to help with these issues. So in my office, by the way, Hillary and Brownwood will still be at the office, will still be working on cases, will still be helping people. Those are essential personnel. They will still get their health care, Medicaid, Medicare payments, and everything should be normal when it comes to those type of federal benefits, including WIC benefits, SNAP benefits. So there will be a number of personnel who are not coming to work. So it's going to, the work will be levied, the burden will be higher, and on the people that are coming and those that don't come. I mean, it's just inefficient, and it is kind of ridiculous, the whole thing, which is exactly why. I mean, normally, think about this. Normally, in the past, my experience has been that we wait until the 28th or 29th or 30th of September to vote on this. Well, Mike Johnson made the decision to vote on it early. We did that 2 weeks ago because we didn't want to run into this situation.
There's got to be a belief somehow that with the help of, I guess, the legacy media, that you can shut this down and the blame go to Republicans. But I seem to remember a long time ago when, they're bringing stuff to the table that was taken care of during Doge. They bringing stuff to the table that Trump ran on, and that's not having health care for illegals and some stuff that's just a no-brainer. You're not going to get that changed. And they used to cry, elections have consequences, and that's what this is. And, there wasn't this, you got to vote for it before you can read it stuff. So what show are they trying to put on? Because I don't think this is going to stick on Trump or the Republicans.
Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, elections do have consequences, and they basically sent a ransom letter, a hostage situation where they wanted to, what we did with Medicaid. Let's just take Medicaid for example. Hundreds of billions of dollars in fraud, waste, and abuse being sent to states like New York and California that don't know how to run it, that were double counting and double enrolling people. 1.5 million at least illegal aliens who are receiving those benefits. And we said, no more, no more of this. We're going to save money, and we're going to do it in order to right the ship. And that was part of their demand letter last night, was unless you reinstate 1.5 million illegal aliens onto Medicaid, and unless the President Trump recently cut $9 billion. That's a lot of money, but compared to the federal budget on an annual basis, it really is not that big of a percentage. But he was able to find $9 billion in savings, in efficiencies, in fraud, waste, and abuse, and cut it. And they said, you have to reinstate all of that. Well, the answer to that is no. We're making progress here on getting our government back to an accountable entity to the taxpayers, and we're not going to cave on this. So elections do have consequences, and they're in a real bad spot. I mean, look, I would love to see a strong two parties that are strong, that come to the table, that have good ideas, that challenge each other. Democrats are rudderless right now. They have no leadership. They are holding on and grasping to thin air, and we're not going to put up with it. So the blame here, I mean, there's a very easy way out of this. Go to the Senate floor, vote on a clean resolution, and let's get on with the business that helps the American people. Why don't we get on with the business of helping our military become stronger? How about that for an idea?
Well, is Schumer doing this because he's fearful that he's going to have an opponent in AOC if he doesn't act a little bit radical for a while?
Well, absolutely. And that's what's driving this, is the Democrat Party has moved to a very, very radical place. We all know that. I mean, when you advocate for men and women's sports, and 15 genders, and when you spend money worshiping climate agendas and things like that, Schumer is absolutely worried that AOC would be victorious in a Senate race in New York. So he's having to act radical himself. That's the opposite of what we're trying to do as Republicans. I mean, I'm in a very conservative district, and every single week that I go to Washington, D.C., we're using reason and logic and common sense to govern, which, by the way, when you look at the bills we've passed, every single bill, and I've passed more bills than any other legislator in Congress this year, every single one of those has been bipartisan. I've been able to get 30, 40, 50 Democrats to sign on to our legislation, which tells you that it's just common sense. They're doing the opposite. Schumer's worried about AOC beating him in a Senate race, so he is acting radical.
Well, now, the last time that there was a shutdown was in the president's first term. Is that correct?
That's right. That was a short shutdown. And I read something, recently. I mean, there have been a number of shutdowns that have happened over the last 10 to 15 years. Mm-hmm. I think 2013 was probably the most painful one, which was 17 days, if I'm not mistaken, well before I got into office. But the party that causes these never ends up coming out better or looking better to the American public. It looks petty. It really, now that there's a rule basically that government employees, they're not coming to work, some of them, but they're still going to get paid. I mean, it really doesn't have the effect that you think it does. So I just, one thing that President Trump does have the ability to do is a reduction in force, and that, we'll see what he ends up doing. I don't think he's going to do anything, too drastic, but there is, a continued thought that we have too much fat in the government, that it's inefficient, that we're not providing the services and not doing the things that we said we would do. I mean, this is something that we've looked at, we've led on. The Republican Study Committee that I lead, with 189 members of Congress as part of it, has looked at this through a Doge-style effort, and we have a Doge caucus that is looking at efficiency. So that this might be the opportunity that President Trump actually needs to continue that work. So that it could be beneficial in that way, but it's just petty. I want to see us function as a government and get back to a common sense approach where we pass appropriations bills, and we do so without the bickering and just the political divisiveness that nobody likes. I mean, nobody likes that, and you can rest assured that when I go to D.C., the way I handle myself is that I'm going to fight policy, and Democrats have bad policy right now. I'm going to fight that, but I'm not going to disrespect human beings. I'm not going to denigrate their character or call names. We're going to go up there and fight bad policy, but when we can, we're going to come together as evidenced by the bills that I've passed already that are bipartisan.
Well, let me ask you this, because you are pretty active. I mean, there's a lot of people I could see on the street, and they could be some of your colleagues, and I wouldn't know who they are, but you've got a lot of stuff done down there, and or a known entity is for the Republican Party because of your work. Do you feel, after the Charlie Kirk thing, do you feel safe as you should feel, or do you recognize that there may be threats to you guys? Because it seems like all those kind of things are going one way, and being an active vocal person, how do you handle that?
Well, let me start by saying, yes, I feel safe, and it's mainly because I live in an amazing area. When you consider the Concho Valley, West Texas, this district that encompasses Brownwood to Odessa and all the way to Killeen, yeah, this is a great place to live. It's a great community. Our law enforcement functions appropriately. We have respect in our community. That doesn't mean that we don't have problems, but we take care of those with accountability. So, yes, I do feel safe. But I will also tell you that many of my colleagues have received threats, innumerable threats. So we are taking it seriously here because you just never know. And we've gotten together with local law enforcement and with great cooperation and help to make sure that you just don't know. I mean, what happened to Charlie Kirk was so sad, tragic. A friend of mine, somebody that spoke the truth and did so in the right way, saying, hey, if you don't agree with me, come and debate me. Let's talk about it. That's the American way, is to have that debate, and to see him assassinated for his views, and somebody that I don't know of anybody who has been willing to talk to his political opponents in a more open and transparent way than Charlie Kirk was. That's the kind of lesson and the legacy that all of us need to do. And I recently, I'm sorry to go on about this a little bit, but this is personal because I knew him and I worked with him. After the assassination, I stood on the Capitol steps with a group of lawmakers, mostly veterans, mostly Republicans with a couple of Democrats, and I was glad to see those Democrats there. I wish that all Democrats would come to the Capitol steps to honor him and to say, we condemn violence, we can't have this anymore, it's gone too far, let's turn the temperature down. Unfortunately, we're not seeing that. I'm going to continue to lead in that way, to do my best to bring more people to, in that case, the Capitol steps, to show that we are unified in that. But right now, I can't report that we are, but we really need to be.
Well, thank you very, very much for taking the time. We know that you were in Sterling City for a town hall last night and wanted to see when are you continuing the town halls out into your district?
Well, I certainly will be, and I'll be meeting in the next day or two with groups of farmers and ranchers and agricultural producers. We're upon harvest, imminent in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and just talking with farmers and ranchers about the challenges they face and how does a government shutdown affect them. I mean, there's lots of programs that are out there to preserve a national security issue called agricultural production. And so I want to hear from them, and we'll be talking with community leaders in the next couple of days to understand what the impact is on them. Of course, I represent multiple military bases, and will have already had and will have conversations with the military bases to see how they're doing and can they still function, and how can we advocate best for them. So yes, I'll be out and about in the community. And let me just say one more time, I mean, Hillary Segmuller does a great job in our Brownwood office, and if you need something in these next couple of days, and I hope that this is short-lived, but her phone number is 325-646-1950. That's 646-1950. And that could be anything from a VA claim or an IRS question or Social Security benefits, and those will still continue to come to constituents. But if you need something, 646-1950, call Hillary. Our office is fantastic. They do a great job of responding.
All right, Congressman August Pfluger, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. God bless.